My name's Harminder Mann. People know me as Harry, and today's date is June 15th, 2014. I was 6 in 1984. I lived in Ottawa. That's the nation's capital for Canada. It was on television, and when they called India to find out if everything was okay, nobody there had even heard of it. Yeah, my mamaji lived in India at that time. So I was in Ottawa. It was an isolated type of place. It was something that everybody was shocked at, but I think people never expected that the Golden Temple would ever be attacked, or any religious place for that matter. Nobody that we knew was directly affected at that point. Yeah, I do remember. Yeah, I do have strong memories of us going to Gurdwara twice. Usually we'd go on Sunday, but we went once after school, and then we went again on the weekend, and the following week we went and protested. And I remember everybody wearing black, so if they had the thoughts, they wore black the thoughts. I remember wearing a black ramal, being on my dad's shoulders, and just a whole bus of people going and protesting outside of Parliament and swearing at Indira Gandhi. I don't remember that as much as I remember the day after, when our neighbors, who were French Canadian, walked up to us and asked us about Sikhs and said, "Did you watch what was on TV?" And my dad's like, "Yeah, that's what we are," because my dad had his hair cut as well. And they said, "Oh, so what happened in India?" And so my dad gave a bit of the background, because even in the news they talked about the Golden Temple attack but didn't really go into it too much. I identified most with a Sikh identity, even in school. So I remember being in grade 1 having an argument with Muslim kids over who was wrong and who was right back when we were kids. So when that whole situation occurred, I also noticed a difference that occurred within our family friends who were Hindu Punjabi, and I knew that there was a difference because their prashad was different. And that was the first thing I remember. And then after that I remember going to a wedding, and I just remember that there was a difference in the way things were done, and all of a sudden it became a you and us more so. And it wasn't so much so that you felt ostracized, but one thing that was for certain was I was automatically different from that point onwards. In Canada, no. In India, one of my dad's cousins became a Jujaru, and he became Shaheed during the whole situation. There's also a point where my cousin, he had his gesh. Some people had come to the village at night and they're about to kill him. And because of one connection they had through family, they let him go. And then he cut his hair. With me, it enticed me to actually learn more. But I must say that I'm one person who's been negatively affected by most of what I've seen out there. A few years ago I saw the Candlelight Vigil, and that was one of the more positive things that I saw regarding 1984, but prior to that I felt that everything that had to do with 1984 was shrouded in anger. And I saw the people who would discuss it being angry all the time, and you cannot share with people's anger either, and I remember that as well. Mm-hmm. So I have to say that being sick, 1984 did affect me, but I also found that the community in itself rallied around things in a way that wasn't necessarily positive all the time. Mm-hmm. And I grew up feeling that as well. 30 years later, being more educated, more aware of what's gone on, taking a bit more interest, one thing I would like to say is it hasn't finished. It hasn't finished. Just the recent effect of what happened at the Akal Takht on June 6, 2014 was enough to tell you that 1984 is still alive. And it will continue to be alive. And I really don't want justice. I don't think the people who are going to give justice are worthy of giving it. So I just want the community to heal and move on.